Corporate fraud, whistleblowing, Companies Act, these are all buzzwords in today's day and age. I think fraud prevention, fraud issues are very topical. Everyone is talking about it, and it's something which in India we're not afraid to talk about anymore, like it used to be maybe 5 years back. We've been very lucky to have Mr. Vinod Rai, who has created this whole revolution in India. He was the 11th Controller Auditor General in India, and we are lucky to have him today to answer some questions and give guidance to private companies and corporates on how they can improve their compliance and governance structures. Thank you, Mr. Rai, for coming here today and speaking to the forum, and also answering a few questions which we thought would be very good for the forensic community in India, and for us to learn from someone as eminent as you. So what are your thoughts recently, at least in the corporate sector, there's this new Companies Act 2013, and it obviously outlines the definition of fraud and is asking, puts a lot of onerous pressure on management, has increased the jail sentence, for instance, for senior people, consultants, auditors, everyone. Do you think that's good for the country?
Introducing an act, I think, is only it's ensuring enforceability. Much of these things, when government gets into it, appear draconian in the initial stages. But time has come when each one of us has to ensure that we put in place systems where the culture of the setup itself is such where you become transparent, where you ensure that ethics is a part of the DNA of the system itself, so that the involuntary reactions itself within the company are ones which ensure that if that happens, then all these elements become peripheral. The act becomes peripheral. Yes, in the beginning, of course, it does appear as if it imposes a lot of conditions, it imposes a lot of constraints, and then people are hesitant to don the kind of responsibility that they need to be done.
Okay. Do you think the government would be serious in your mind to implement it? Because a lot of acts have come out in the past, for instance, there was this old clause 49, etc., and I'm not sure how enforced it is. Do you think the government has become now more serious in general around enforcing acts and compliance?
I would, it would be very unfair of me to say that the government is not serious in enforcing it. But I think what the message that government is sending is that, look, going forward, henceforth, these things, these elements matter. And the earlier we get it ingrained into the cultures or the systems that we run, the better it is. But I think to a large extent, government should at the least display seriousness in pursuit of some of these factors.
So on the whistleblowing policy, do you feel, this question about the fact about protection of whistleblowers? Most whistleblowers do worry about their life. You have the old Manjunath incident which happened in IOC. Question is, do you think protection of whistleblowers and allowing them anonymity so that they come forward is something the government should consider? Because anonymity kind of has been taken away from the whole Whistleblower Act, and do you think that's an important aspect which the government should reconsider?
I think the government is in the process of reconsidering it all, because these were some of these what I'd call signature cases where they have opened the eyes of people, and Manjunath's case was one of those cases where government will have to. In fact, government has introduced it between anonymity and anonymous complaints. Government has introduced the fact that if you file a complaint, the identity of the whistleblower will be protected, but it will be masked. But I must confess that the systems in place are not those where it's actually being masked correctly, and the identity, somehow it's slipping out. And that's the one which discourages people from coming forward and do it. But government is addressing the issue of the anonymity factor, and to ensure that the protection is provided.